I don't. I still don't know. Well, we talked constantly about talking about Naomi. I think the smart thing to do is to talk about science. But we're going to talk about Naomi anyway, even though I know it's the wrong thing to do. I know it. I know it in my heart and in my soul. To just ignore the topic, to ignore the fact that Kyoko is being treated this way, is not something I'd allow myself to do. Despite having just met Kyoko, I'm allowed to have feelings of concern if Naomi's doing something to hurt her. Not addressing it wouldn't make me feel better about it. There is something I want to talk about. Kyoko, oblivious to my tone of voice, looks at me cheerfully. Oh, we've ruined it. We've ruined it. We've totally messed. No.
What is it? Are you going to tell me your favorite element?
It's talking about science. She likes science. No, it's not that. It's about Naomi Sato. Her face drops at the mention of the name. I don't want to get too into it, but it seems as if she has something against you. Kyoko remains frozen before me, her face now coated with a look of woe. It's not the worst look in the world. It's not something I wanted to see. Then why did you ask? But to see a face like this caused by someone's hate would hit harder.
He's always been like that. I'd rather not go into it.
Shit, I knew it! I'm sorry for asking. Taking my cue, I apologize for delving into the topic. I knew it was too soon! I knew it! I'm like, it's too soon to go into that. I should talk about. Why didn't I ask about science? I had realized that asking would have created a sense of awkwardness, but her response solidifies that situation entirely. It's apparent that Naomi is going out of her way to upset Kyoko. I'd hate to imagine what Kyoko is feeling. The thought itself makes me sick.
No, it's okay.
Okay, she's bounced back.
After all, you're a science club member. You're allowed to ask questions.
I guess now's a good time to change the topic. Kyoko doesn't seem too happy talking about Naomi. It's understandable why.
Anyways, it's getting late.
Oh no, not the it's getting late.
I'd rather not bore you. We can't do anything until tomorrow.
Why didn't I ask? She likes science. Why didn't I ask about science? Kyoko upholds her sorrowful expression as she makes note of the amber sky visible through the windows. Whether that's due to having to cut the club short or due to our conversation, it's unclear. It's okay. I'm looking forward to it.
Determining the concentration of calcium carbonate in limestone?
Not really. I don't like that at all. That's what you were doing? A giggle, a cute and more than welcome one. It's a nice thing to end my first club meeting on, given the bleak aura we've just escaped from. Kyoko unsheaths her slender figure from the lab coat, resting it once again in a nearby chair. I feel as if she's the only one who actually comes here outside of class. She has free reign to use all the equipment without a care in the world. That is, besides Naomi. We both stroll out of the lab together. She walks swiftly to my side, now almost as happy as she was when we first arrived. Wait, aren't you going to put the equipment back?
Oh, that? They won't care if I leave it there for tomorrow.
Okay. I'll trust her on that. Why didn't he ask? We should have asked about science. Should have asked about science. Greeted by the late afternoon skies above, just as yesterday, we now stand before the school gates ready to depart. Spending time with her has certainly been fun. I'd really consider her a friend. Before you ask, I will come tomorrow.
How did you know?
Because, like me, she enjoys spending time with someone after school. It could have been anyone, but I'm happy I made the decision to join her. Because science is fun, right?
Right.
Kyoko leaves me with a friendly wave as we bid each other farewell. The two of us now setting off home in this warm spring evening. It's that friendly wave I want to be able to see more often. The emotion of happiness. I don't want Naomi to bother her. I don't want her to be unhappy, to feel that way anymore. I feel like we've misread the Naomi situation. I don't think she's being bullied, my friend. She's always been like that. Interesting. History. The creaking sound of my bedroom door makes its way to my ears as I step inside my room. My feet tap against the hardwood floor as they make my way inside towards my chair. Besides my own movement and sounds, the house is silent, save for the sounds of traffic and the wider world outside my window. Finding myself alone at this time of the day is still an odd experience, my parents having left to enjoy their once in a blue moon evening meal. At least now, with this piece, I don't find myself berated by them for not cleaning my room or doing schoolwork. Maybe I have it easy. I could be berated for not bringing girls home from school instead, but having to hear about cleaning is still as exasperating. I had a hard enough time yesterday on cleaning duty, which is why I'm grateful to Kyoko for deciding to help me out in the end. Even if I had to join the science club in the process, it's not as if I mind though. It's certain to say that I'm finding the club enjoyable, or rather, being around Kyoko herself is what's fun. I can't call science as a selling point. True that. Her quirky nature is almost captivating, given that she's never really opened herself up to me in class. It's funny to think that I once thought of her as a quiet, reserved girl. She seems to get so excited about almost everything. Though, I know that there's more to her than meets the eye. Her reluctance to delve into the topic of Naomi is more than concerning. Even if she did tell me not to go into it, getting choked earlier today wasn't a pleasant experience. No masochist? Yes. But I'd guess there'd be plenty of guys wanting to be in my shoes. Maybe. However, it's clear that something is going on between the two of them. And if what I've seen is to believe, then I can't help but think that there's a real possibility of Naomi bullying Kyoko. That's not happening. Something more than that. Standing around and letting that happen would make me feel disgusted about myself. Dealing with Naomi further isn't in my interest either, given our less than stellar introduction. But if I don't control her, who will? As an ill-matched chuckle escapes my mouth as I dwell on my thoughts, I'm not Kyoko's knight in shining armor, but then again, I'm no asshole either. By this point, that's a good selling point. I like that, actually. By this point, I can consider her my friend, and letting this ordeal continue isn't what a friend would do. I'll just have to talk to Naomi, no matter how fond we are of each other. Stretching back in my chair, the phone on my desk vibrates as I peer towards it. Whoever it is, they've picked the perfect time to get in touch. Being at home alone sure is boring, but it's not like I'd be speaking to my parents much anyway. Picking up my phone, I tilt it towards me and read the notification lit across the screen. One new message from a familiar name at that. Kyoko? It's reasonable to think that she'd try texting me eventually. We did exchange numbers, so I shouldn't be that surprised. Still, I'm not sure what she'd want at this time of the day, but there's no sense in not responding to her. Firming my grip around it, I bring my phone closer towards my eyes to read the message on the screen. Which one do I read first? As opposed to abbreviations of slang, Kyoko's message is typed neatly before me. No, I have to do voices! Hey! You're coming to the club tomorrow, right? I don't want to do her voice. I can't do that voice. You've heard it. There's nothing I can do. She didn't seem like the type of person to send a, "You're coming to the club tomorrow, right?" So that's not too surprising. What's even less surprising is the message itself. That is, her eagerness to check on whether or not I'll be attending the club or not. Despite being a member, I guess she still doesn't have the confidence to believe that someone has actually joined her club. That alongside the amount of time she presumably spent alone there. In terms of club activities, we didn't do much today besides touching on a sensitive issue for her. Perhaps she's worried I might have found it boring. If so, I should probably respond, it's not as if I don't enjoy talking to her. Click on a message to choose a oh. How much do you want me to go? We're the sarcastic asshole, right? Let's see how this goes. If I wasted an opportunity to have some fun with her, I'd kick myself. I may as well tease her a little. She is overly persistent about checking to see if I'm going or not. Maybe fooling around would get it through her head that I'm not going to drop out of her club so easily. She's intelligent after all. The message should be clear. That, and I want to see what her reaction would be. Deciding upon my message, my finger hits send, and thus my wait for Kyoko's response begins. The statement itself is vague enough to not imply I won't go. Kyoko did spend all that time as the only member of the club. Saying something overtly mean and passing it off as a joke wouldn't be a nice thing to do to her. I don't want to... Are you trying to make me feel guilty? I don't want to unintentionally make things worse for her, particularly with the issues surrounding Kyoko with Naomi. Hopefully she gets the joke, but she seems to have a very niche sense of humor. However, soon enough her response comes through to me. More than the atomic mass of Darmstadium. I don't do science. It's not my thing. Oh, Snapple, by the way. I'm not even going to ask what Darmstadium is, or whether what she said makes any sense at all. She's pretty clever, but she seems to have a hard time understanding that I have no idea what any of this stuff is. Maybe teasing her some more will get her to talk more sense, or maybe I'm just having fun. We'll see. Sending my brief message, her response this time is prompter than before. That's cute. See, you know the problem with this? This is just making me sad that no one sends me these messages. Like, these conversations are so fun and adorable. Someone sent me these messages. I want these cute little hug out emojis. It's not fair. I guess a picture conveys more feelings than words. At least I think that's how the saying goes. All I hope is that Kyoko understands that I'm actually joking, but she's sharp enough to understand that, hopefully. Perhaps sending a winky face might have ratified my point. Still, being able to freely speak to Kyoko like this after only a few days makes me happy. It only makes me wonder how long she had to deal with being alone in the club, putting up with Naomi. To be able to joke around with her, to be friends with her, I can't call it a bad thing. All I need to do now is get a better understanding of the situation. Talking to Naomi again is the only way to do that. Leaning back once again in my chair, I'm back at odds and finding something to keep me occupied. I could conform to cliches and resist doing my homework, but doing it now seems like the best thing to do. It's not as if I have anything else to do besides thinking about Kyoko and Naomi. Frankly, I don't think doing that is healthy. I'll just have to sort things out tomorrow. Okay. I guess a picture conveys more words, more feelings than words. I almost said it backwards. Wednesday. I love the aesthetic of this game. It's so good. Like, everything just looks good. The backgrounds look so good too. Rays of light from the afternoon sun seep through the windows across the room as the class lethargically relaxes, the school day approaching its end. All that's left is one final class, and I can't be the only one here counting down the seconds until it's over. Most will head home. However, in my case, I get to engross myself in the science club after school. It's something I can look forward to, at least. Kyoko, too, is still more than thrilled about having me go, despite asking yesterday. I wasn't surprised to find her more than keen to stop me before lunch to give a quick reminder. Oh, excuse me. Maybe after today, she'll ease up on it. We didn't actually do any real club activities, and I've only been there twice, counting our introduction. However, besides enjoying my time with Kyoko, I'm starting to feel as if I'm attending for another reason. Naomi Sato. No matter how much I might like her, or how well liked she is around school, I still find it odd that anyone would have an issue with Kyoko. Being that school's idol just makes the scenario even more peculiar. Kyoko doesn't want me to get into it, but I can't find myself turning my back on it. On her. It's strange.
Hey, Natsumi, what class is next?
We have chemistry, Chitose. How could you forget? You hate it, don't you?
Hello?
Don't remind me.
Who are these people? Overhearing conversation behind me, it seems as if I'm in for an interesting hour. Kyoko's probably ecstatic at the thought. That is, I'd think so, however peering towards her tells me a different story. As she neatly packs away her bag to join the class in the trip to the lab, her expression remains pretty stoic, at least for someone as expressive as her. Thinking back, Kyoko did leave her experiment set up yesterday. I wonder if she'll have to set it up again, now that we'll be using the lab. I'll just have to ask. I'd be pretty pissed if I had to set it up again because of a teacher dismantling it. My legs ache as I lift myself from my chair. I should probably make my way out too, now that everyone else is just about ready to leave. Walking out into the corridor, I'm woken by the sight of Kyoko apparently waiting for me to leave the class.
Come on, we're in the lab. We can't just stay behind once it's finished. Don't you want to do the experiment?
How are we supposed to do it if we have a class first? Won't the teacher just take down what we did yesterday?
It'll be fine. They let me do what I want for some reason.
That is weird. What is going on? Wait a minute. I played a visual novel once where one of the main girls was actually dead. That was the only one that could see her. Is Kyoko a ghost? Please don't do this to me, game. Don't do this. I don't want that. I guess it's because if they don't, they might think her performance on tests will drop. She's probably the one putting this school on the academic map.
Now, let's go.
Alright, we can go to the science club. Or blab, whatever. Kyoko turns and walks ahead, trailing behind the rest of the class, making their way to the science club. I swiftly follow behind, watching her as her arms sway to and fro as she puddles her way behind me. I love that word. Us now heading to the class together. We enter the lab, and instinctively I attempt to make my way to the back of the class, albeit stopped by Kyoko.
Hey!
What? Kyoko pulls against my sleeve, almost dragging me to the chair beside her right at the front of the class. Her actions don't go unheeded, as a few glances trace their way towards us. Again, given Kyoko's status around here, I'd be just as surprised if she suddenly yanked a classmate to sit with her. Luckily enough, it just had to be me.
I don't like science.
Marry me. What? Then why'd you create the science club? Unexpectedly, she bellows out to me?
No, not science. Science, the class.
Oh, well. I mean, we have that in common.
Why would I like it when all they teach is kid stuff? Do I look like a kid to you?
I mean, she is considerably shorter than me, and her face is pretty childlike, and that's without considering her, well... No, you don't. No, not at all. I shouldn't go into it. However, her apathy for the subject isn't too surprising. Thinking about it, as the school's most intelligent student, I guess that being stuck behind with everyone else isn't fun. If she feels that way about high school chemistry, maybe she feels the same way about other subjects. Maybe the science club is the only place where she can enjoy herself. Alright. I can understand that. The lesson slowly continues with Kyoko not sparing time, giving her opinion to the class.
Why are we using cheap plastic pipettes? These should have volumetric ones.
Oh my god, look at her face. Maybe the school's on a budget? This is jamming.
Why are we using paper pH indicators? It's not even accurate!
Oh my gosh, you're so angry! It's not even accurate! Don't ask me.
Why can't we use the Bunsen burners? What's the point of buying them if we can't even use them?
That's not a bad point. We use Bunsen burners in my classes. She sure does have a thing against this class, it seems. Soon enough, however, Kyoko's dreams come true as the class finishes with us writing down the results from the experiment that we did together. Still, despite not enjoying it, Kyoko's work is as detailed and as neat as I'd imagine. If she's this into something she hates, then the club activities today should be interesting. You know those trumpets? Idling around, the two of us remain at the front of the class as people around us filter out towards us through the door. Quickly, we find ourselves alone again in what is now the science club.
I'm glad that's over.
Me too. But I thought you liked science.
But that's basic stuff. It's like asking if you like cake and only giving a spoonful.
I mean, still cake.
And it's not even chocolate or strawberry. It's just plain
Oh, that's
cake.
bad. That's bad.
How could anyone call that
You
good?
can't. I'm not sure I entirely relate with her analogy, but I can see how she'd find it frustrating. It's weird to think that I could probably ask her something and she'd give me the presumably correct answer. When did the I don't know how to say that, period start?
794.
I'll trust that she's right. I don't know the answer off the top of my head, but it's believable enough. Excuse me. Anyway, we should probably get started with this experiment. It's a phrase I didn't think I'd find myself saying, but the reaction on Kyoko's face is more than enough to prove it was the right thing.
Right.
Right! Kyoko trots across the room to retrieve the delicate construction set aside by our teachers. I should probably help her out. It looks a bit big for her to carry by herself. Let me give you a hand. I take a hold of the clamp stand, which had previously held itself balanced upon a flask tucked into Kyoko's stomach. She's probably used to haphazardly handling the equipment, but I don't want to take the risk of an accident.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sweetheart. That was cringy. Carrying the mass of apparatuses to a nearby desk, I leave Kyoko to finish arranging the setup. As I stand back in awe, it's this sort of ambition I've been looking forward to seeing. How she delicately places each test tube in an appropriate rack, tracing each inch of the desk with her eyes to ensure everything's right. It's fascinating to think someone could be so engrossed in this, but she is.
There. Done.
That was quick. Proudly standing before her creation, Coco puffs out her chest with pride, taking a step back to look at the work of art before her. So, what now?
Now's when the fun starts. We can finish from where we left off.
Reaching into her pocket, Kyoko pulls out a small, unmarked glass bottle, smiling at her own reflection as the sunlight meets it. Are you sure that's safe? You aren't wearing any goggles either. I might not be the scientist, but I do have a sense of safety. Without any heed, Kyoko reaches her arm out towards the setup before her.
Don't worry, it will be fine.
Ah, the famous last words.
No, where were we?
In an instant, the sound of breaking glass reaches my ears, shortly followed by a puff of smoke filling the space around me. My body jolts back from the scene before I realize Kyoko's standing right there. Are you alright? Kyoko emerges from the cloud, wafting around the smoke with her arms.
I'm fine. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Really? You don't say. You're not hurt, are you? The smoke clears, giving me more definition to the expression of woe coating the face before me.
No, but look.
As I follow her gaze downwards, a pink stain stands out against the blue and white of her attire. Whatever shattered must have splashed her.
I can't go home like this.
Why not? You're the scientist. She looks like she's ready to burst into tears. No! Don't know. We head pats. Head pats. That's what we need. Head pats. You don't have a spare change of clothes, do you? We didn't have gym today, so I guess she's stuck as it is. Kyoko doesn't respond, causing me to look towards her, now tucked away into her school bag. Don't tell me.
Ta-da! You thought I wasn't prepared, didn't you?
Holding up a pink shirt before me, complete with a little image of an atom drawn on the top, Kyoko smiles as she nods towards the door.
I need to get changed.
And? Oh, right. Sorry. Taking my cue, I turn around and head out into the corridor, leaving Kyoko to change out of her school clothes. It's still kind of odd that she had the casual clothes laying around in her bag. First it was the soda, and now this. She sure is full of surprises. Bum, bum. Besides the ambient sound of club activities, the corridor is silent enough for me to hear Kyoko moving around inside. Oh my god, is she gonna fall, and then we're gonna burst back inside, and she's gonna be partially clothed? Oh! Stray dust strands around the air as I wait for her to call me inside. Rather than call, a panicked yelp makes its way out from inside. Swiftly, my body turns and pushes the door open on instinct. Are you okay? Da-da-da-dum-bum-bum. As my vision adjusts to the light, Kyoko stands embraced by the evening sun, in nothing but her bra and panties. Shocking! Her figure is surprisingly athletic. Now that I can see it, she must train a lot outside of school when she isn't doing that science thing. Her skin, too, free from blemishes, has a mild sheen as a light sweat glistens from the sunlight behind her. As for her choice of fashion, small blue bows stand out upon her rather plain white underwear. Wait, why am I just standing here? Kyoko, too, remains frozen, still clutching her hands to her hair with a bewildered look, one which soon changes to a pang of embarrassment now that she realizes what I'm seeing.
What are you?
Her face, now reddened, is just one of many sights laid out before me. Sorry! And then we leave and we slam. I guess she's okay after all, but I probably won't be after she's finished changing.
You can come back in.
Okay. Embarrassment still spilling from her voice, Kyoko calls out from inside the lab. Maybe it'll be best if I explain myself. Oh my god, she's adorable in her normal clothes. She's really growing on me. I thought maybe I'd go for Naomi in the end, but Kyoko is really growing on me. Now adorned in casual clothing, Kyoko faces me with the same sense of embarrassment coating her face. Cheeks still rosy, as she averts her gaze away from mine. Sorry about that. I heard you scream and thought you'd hurt yourself.
It's okay. Thanks for the concern.
You're welcome.
It's my fault for not being careful. I almost fell over.
It's just shocking. Well, thankfully everything is okay. At least she is. The room is still a mess. Shards of broken glass lay the floor, coated in whatever chemical was originally inside. Kyoko's eyes quickly follow mine downwards as we both stay still, staring at the scene. It looks like we'll be cleaning things together once again.
It was my fault. I'll clean it. You should go home.
Alright, later, bitch. Are you sure? I'd be happy to help. Why are you crying again? Don't cry. Reverting her gaze towards me, shakes her head and sighs softly. She must feel bad about messing up the experiment. Picking up my bag, I leave her behind as I head towards the door. However, before leaving, there's one last thing I need to address. I'm just gonna leave? I will be coming tomorrow.
Oh. Right.
Maybe the joke has lost its effect, but Kyoko seems to trust me enough now that she no longer needs to ask. For both of us, the science club has become routine, even after a short amount of time. I'm enjoying it enough to stay here. Kyoko too seems to be enjoying herself, and that in itself makes me happy. We're just leaving? Departing with a wave, I make my way through the corridor set on my journey home. The sounds of club activity, still strongly ambient through the grounds, provides a subtle distraction as my feet meet the ground, casting shadows in the evening sunlight. I can't help but smile. Alright, I think that's another good place to stop, I think. So, this game's fun. I'm enjoying it. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I hope you're liking the little face cam. That's different for me, but I think it's kind of fun. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you back in the next episode. Bye!